Nearly 2/3 of Aussie workers are preparing to quit their job sometime in the next 12 months, often in search of progression opportunities and better pay. 61% of Aussie workers is what they have calculated it to be that are looking to leave their job in the next 12 months. Hey, burnout besties. So I'm really pissed about this topic, and I really want to talk about it because it's something that I'm really passionate about, and you probably would have picked up by now if you've been following my page and TikTok for a hot minute. But this is a joke. The fact that they've labeled it as wanting progression opportunities and better pay instead of giving us the full story. I can almost guarantee that most of the people looking to leave in the next 12 months is not necessarily due to career progression or better pay. So we're going to talk about it. I want to start off with saying that there is not enough accountability in the management space of almost all workplaces. And the lack of accountability is becoming so detrimental when people are going to work that it's causing people to want to leave more than career progression and more than pay increases. Obviously, I have LinkedIn because it's a good way to connect with people that you've worked with, working with, and all the other la-di-da-di shit that goes on with it. Sometimes I'll see good things. I'm barely on there because I personally at the moment I'm not seeing a value in using it, but maybe one day I will. But in the minimal amount of times that I go on LinkedIn and I will see a post, and sometimes it'll say something along the lines of, a pay increase makes you happy once a year, but a good culture keeps you happy year round. So let's talk about that. A positive culture is not a pizza party once a month. It's not, here's a little good job or, a little passive aggressive, oh, thanks when you've done something that you've had asked of you. A positive culture actually fosters healthy mental health. And I've recently on my Instagram and Facebook touched on what a psychosocial hazard is. Psychosocial hazards are becoming such a global problem in every workplace, but there's no accountability. Only employers can take steps to implement strategies that are going to reduce the likelihood of psychosocial hazards. I created a little slide on it on my Instagram. And I think it's important to know that if you're feeling certain ways and you're blaming yourself, it's actually quite important to see if maybe it is a psychosocial hazard. A psychosocial hazard can be your unrealistic workloads and due dates, bullying, harassment, or discrimination, including being a witness to it. And I didn't know anything about that. I just thought, oh, well, it's not directed at me, so whatever. But being subject to it can actually be just as crucial as being the target in the first place. Your job insecurity, say maybe they're doing a restructure of the company and you haven't been told whether your job's going to still exist, or maybe you've got somebody else that's coming on to do your job and you feel like you're having work taken away from you and it starts to sort of look like your job's going to be obsolete. A lack of support from management, the absence of work-life balance, and unfair treatment. Every single one of those I personally have been subject to. All of it. Every single one of them. And I didn't register them as being psychosocial hazards until it was too late and I had already been burnt out to the point that I quit my job and I had nowhere else to go. The best thing that I ever did was quit with nowhere to go, for me personally. It's not going to be the answer for everybody, and I will acknowledge that. And if you are still there and you're still waiting for the call to say you got a different job, I believe in you. It's coming. It's coming. I believe that it's coming, and you need to believe that too. For me personally, the unfair treatment was definitely something that I have been subject to in pretty much every job that I have had. I never heard of psychosocial hazards. That's why I'm making you aware of them. But when I read that little article that said it was career progression and better pay, I wish somebody would smack management of almost every workplace, smack them in the face, give them a reality check, because I'm sick of it. 2 reels I made on Instagram, a combined viewing of over 2 million people, liked by nearly 50,000 people, shared nearly 30,000 times between the 2 of them. You're telling me that that number of people don't relate. They're just putting it on. They don't relate to it at all. Lies. Absolute lies. You're telling me that if I put 30,000 people in an arena, that their voice doesn't matter, that they're putting it on, that they're hard to manage, that it's all in their head, that they are the problem. You're going to tell me that 30,000 people are the reason that they want to leave because they're part of the problem. No. How many people do you need to have in one space to say that there's a problem with the workforce for employers and managers alike to do something about it? It is ridiculous. I can't believe the absence of complete accountability for them to put their hand up and say, yep, you know what? We're not doing good enough. We need to do better. It is not hard. It might be hard if you just don't give a shit about anybody except yourself. If you don't care about the well-being of your employees, you are the problem. I don't know how else to say it, but it makes me angry because I've been subject to it and I know how much it wrecked me as a person. That it should wreck somebody if they have made someone feel so small to the point that they have quit because they felt like there was no other option, or they go home crying every day, they wake up and cry because they have to go to work, they sit at their fucking desk and cry, or they hide in the bathroom and they have a meltdown because they don't know how to function because of the poor treatment they are receiving at work. It is unacceptable, and I don't know what needs to be done in order for workplaces to pull their heads out of their ass and want to do better. I can tell you from my standpoint that I have seen so much turnover in almost every job that I have had, and it isn't until I became an adult who worked in HR that understands what a psychosocial hazard is and what a toxic workplace truly is, for me to realize that there is not enough done. There is not enough education. There is no accountability. There is no training for people that are put in management positions who have zero people skills. It is one thing to be a manager, but it is another thing to be a leader. A leader and a manager do not go in the same sentence, and I will never put them in the same sentence. I will be damned if I ever hear someone say, oh, I have a good manager, but they're not a leader. Nah. A good manager is a leader. The management is a title. Being a leader is having the will to let your employees bring ideas to you, work with them, create a team environment, make it a safe space, and make them want to do better and help them achieve their goals. If you're a manager that goes, oh, well, they brought something up, but we've always done it this way, so we'll just, it's a terrible idea. Or, on the contrary, you then go, oh, that's a good idea, but then you take that idea and you get the credit for that without crediting your team. Disgusting. It disgusts me. I've been on the receiving end of that, and it is soul crushing. It depletes all confidence that I am smart, that I am a worthwhile team member, and that I bring value to the team. Don't do that. I have watched workplaces where people are put in management roles purely for the amount of time that they have been employed, not because they hold the skills or the qualifications. I don't even care about a qualification. You can have a qualification, you can have that piece of paper, but if you're a shit person, it doesn't count for anything. I'm sorry, but you're not going to change my mind on that. It pisses me off. How can you tell me that somebody with zero empathy, zero people skills, zero ability to manage their time, and every ability to delegate work so they don't have to do anything is in a management role? Tell me that. And you want to come at me and say that 2/3 of Aussies want better career progression and an increase in pay. No, they want somewhere that values them as a human being, not a robot. They want somewhere that doesn't make them feel demoralized. They want somewhere that when they preach that they have a work-life balance, they actually have a work-life balance. And it's not just Australians. I am talking from the bottom of my heart for all of my burnout besties across the world who I know for a fact that I have at the moment. I've received messages from people in France, in South Africa, in London, in Canada, in the US, from New Zealand. I have got people everywhere at the moment who have just popped up out of nowhere, telling me that they relate and they feel the same. Enough is enough. I am so sick and tired of the same old, we don't know why people are leaving. But either you, A, don't pay any fucking attention when they do an exit interview and give you the feedback that you're asking for, or B, they do an exit interview and it's just swept under the rug like everything else that's brought to your attention. Workplaces do know. They know. They are very well aware. Very well aware. I came from somewhere that was very well aware. Did they change anything? No. No, they didn't. I need my emotional support water bottle for this one because it's getting heated. Okay, I'm calm. I am angry at the fact that so many people are on the same wavelength of being burnt out, mistreated, understaffed shifts, not trained, not treated like a human, unfucking real expectations with zero support. It makes me angry. It makes me sad. It gives me the feeling of hopelessness because obviously the point of my podcast and my social media pages is to create relatable content. But what's funny to me is I've actually had very different responses than I expected. A majority of people think it's fucking hilarious. It is hilarious because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. And I know that. It's why I made it, because it made me feel better because I have not been working. I was making it in my spare time because I thought, you know what? Fuck it. It's funny. I don't know if I think it's funny. Other people will find it funny because I am me. And if you're like me, then it's going to be funny. But I've also received a lot of criticism. And it's the people that are offering criticism that are the people I'm talking about. I made people angry with the stuff I posted, calling out the toxicity, calling out the fakeness, calling out the fact that if you raise a concern with your manager, you're labeled as difficult or you're then mistreated, or it's all things that I've personally been subject to, but it's been seen by over 2 million people, or at least 2 million times just on Instagram. But I've got people coming at me and saying, oh, well, you wouldn't know what toxic is until this. Oh, well, I bet you are the problem. Or you're paid to do a job, stop complaining. Yes, we're paid to do our job, but our job should be safe. We're entitled to a safe workplace. Psychosocial hazards are actually now under the Work Health and Safety Act. I know in Australia here they are. But you can't preach about, oh, you have to do things safely. You know, PPE, like your steel caps and your safety glasses or your earmuffs and all of that is mandatory. So why is a safe psychological workplace not mandatory? Why is it always, oh, well, you know, you're just having a bad day, walk it off, or get over it, or stop being difficult, or suddenly you raise an issue and then you're treated different? Why? Why? Oh my God, like I just want to go and it feels like I'm just headbutting a brick wall. But the people that are criticizing me are the people I'm talking about. Instead of taking on this constructive feedback that this is how people feel, they are taking offense to it and telling me I'm the problem. Saying that I'm giving people these ideas that it's going to then cause more problems because I put that idea in their head instead of just letting it go. I'm not gonna let it go. Ew. I will not let this go. And I'm angry. I've said that already, but I'm angry. I'm angry for you. I'm angry for me. I'm angry for the people that are trying to create better environments but are shut down by the people who have no empathy for human beings. I don't really know what else I want to say about it, but I'm angry about it. And I wish I could fix it, but I can't. You can't change people. And in my mind, knowing you can't change people means that you can't change the toxic tendencies of workplaces without them wanting to do the work. It's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can raise concerns at work, but it doesn't mean it's going to matter to them. It doesn't mean that they're going to take your feedback on board. So stop trying all the time when you know it's not going to change. I think that's what I'm getting at. Is firstly, employers, stop saying you don't know what's wrong. Yes, you do. Do better. Because I guarantee if suddenly your hierarchy status was stripped from you and you were on the same level as everybody else who is coming to you with these concerns and you were subject to the things that they were raising concerns with you about, you would suddenly see it through your own eyes. But it shouldn't take something like that to happen. You should just look at it from a humanly point of view. Put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, they've raised this concern. How would I feel if I was subject to that myself? Start taking accountability. If you are in a higher leadership position, HR, whatever, if you are come to with someone's concern because they see an issue or they trust you with it or they think they can trust you. I think that's a big thing. They think they can trust you. Do not let them down, because it is beyond a joke that if someone comes to you, you then either make a deal about it, you sweep it under the rug, you don't address it properly. I am sick and tired of it. It is really infuriating knowing that there are so many people like me who have raised concerns and they met with nothing. I touched on that in my first episode, that I raised concerns and I was met with nothing despite swimming across oceans for these people who wouldn't even jump in a puddle for me. Stop doing that to your employees. You're burning them out. You're making them feel like they're not worthy of any of your time or any of your efforts or your leadership. Be a leader. You know that there's problems. Do something about it. Hold those accountable that are causing the problems. Stop investing in people not worthy of people positions. If they don't have people skills, why are they managing a team? That makes no sense. I don't care whether they're qualified or not. You can teach somebody a new management role, even if they don't have the qualifications. You can teach them that if they have the right mindset. And the only people with the right mindset are the people that are going to be good leaders. You could come to, if I was an employer and say you didn't have the qualification that I needed you to have, or I preferred you to have. If you didn't have that, but you came to me and you were willing to learn, you had an amazing attitude, and you were willing to go above and beyond, I'll look after you. I will invest in you. I will train you. I will make sure you have an understanding of the expectations. I will be there for you if you need support. Workplaces don't offer that. They need to. Stop offering the EAP, Employee Assistance Program. They shouldn't need it to cope with their poor mental health because of your workplace. It's not acceptable, and I'm so sick and tired of people telling me the same shit that they know how it feels because they don't deserve it. Now, for my little burnout besties who are going through this, I've got your back, don't you worry. I will keep calling this shit out as I see it because it makes me mad, and I will go into bat for you, and I will support you, and I'll back you 100%. But for my burnout besties, you are doing your best with what little resources you have. You deserve better than that. If I'm pissed, you're pissed, and I know that for a fact, and I want to scream that from the rooftops for you. I want you to come with me and scream it from the rooftop. Come with me. Let's have a rant together. I'm done hiding behind feeling scared about speaking up. For a little bit, I was a little bit scared about talking out loud about these things because I had been labeled as difficult, because I had been deemed as a whinger, or as I recently found out, I'd been referred to in my last workplace as a negative Nancy because all I did was complain. Well, no, I called out the shit that I didn't agree with that was affecting team morale because it was not very fantastic and the productivity was decreasing as a result. But I hear you. I hear your concerns. I'm listening. I'm taking notes because I want to touch on a lot of the topics that you are commenting on my stuff with. You're leaving me comments saying I've been through this, or I've been through this, or I've seen this, or this is how I was treated. And I'm taking notes because I hear you. And a big part for me is I wish I could just scream about this stuff. But I can't scream it because even talking doesn't work. But I've got your back. Anytime you need to rant to me about something that happened at work, message me. My DMs are open. Message me, email me. I don't care. Reach out. Let's talk. Let's rant. Let's cry. Let's laugh. Bring your emotional support water bottle. I'm here for that. If you're in Australia, come and meet me. Shit, like I'm in your corner. And I want you to know that we deserve better. We will find better workplaces. I want us to find better workplaces because we deserve that. We deserve to be in safe environments. Seeing that article on the news saying that people are leaving for career progression and better pay really just didn't sit right with me because they're not telling the truth. It is not the full truth. It is a watered down truth that people are telling them because they're too afraid to speak up and give the actual reasons as to why they're leaving. So I encourage you, if you have an exit interview or someone asks you why you're leaving, don't hide. Tell them the truth. Be open, be honest about your experience. Your feelings are yours. Nobody can take that from you. You are entitled to how you feel. And you're entitled to a safe psychological workplace. You are entitled to that. Promise you. Promise. But I encourage you to always speak up. I know it's hard, and I know that I've received a lot of comments where people say, oh, well, this is just why I don't say anything so I don't get labeled as difficult. Keep talking. Talk loud. Speak your truth. Call out the bullshit. They might not like it, but we need to start making noise about this, because the more of us that make noise, eventually it's going to have to change. It's going to have to. There is no reason that it couldn't. We just need to start making moves that puts the right people in the right positions to make it better workplaces, better spaces, so that you feel psychologically and emotionally safe at work. I know that getting paid more and career progression would be fantastic, but with most of the people that I have spoken to recently, they're leaving because they dread going to work. You shouldn't dread going to work, because then it burns you out and then you come home and you've got nothing left to give at the end of the day. That's not fair. So I really do think that when we see things about people leaving for career progression and better pay, there is an element of truth. But as somebody who's been subject to, and will probably be subject to again in future, the terrible management and the lack of support in workplaces, we're gonna make noise. I'm gonna make noise because I am sick of it. I'm young. And as somebody who, at the age of 23, has had more than a handful of jobs because of the mistreatment in different workplaces, something has to change. And I want you to know that you are strong enough to speak out loud. You are strong enough to raise concerns. Fuck what they say, whether you're difficult to manage. No, you're not. You're not difficult to manage. You're right. You are right. And you need to know that. You absolutely need to know that. And if they start making you doubt your ability to do your job, then why'd they hire you in the first place, huh? You landed that job because you had the right attributes. You had the right skills, the right qualifications. You landed that job. Not them. They didn't land your job. You were hired to do your job because they knew that you could do your job. So come back to that. Every time you start doubting whether you can do your job properly, yes, you can, because you got that job. You did that on your own. They can't take that from you. You have got every ability to raise concerns, and I trust that. And I trust that heaps of people have the ability to just stop caring about what their management or their leadership, pretend leadership, says about them. The art of not caring what they say about you will be so much better in the long run. I get that they might have to be your reference or your referee or whatever for another job. Don't put them down. Use somebody else that you've got a good relationship with at your workplace for that. I don't really know what else to say, because I was really arced up about it and I've said what I had to say. I ranted and I yelled at the employers. So I think I'm done. I think I've had my say. But employers know why people are leaving. They just don't want the accountability. And we deserve better. You deserve better. If you're applying for jobs, I'm manifesting the job offer to come your way. If you're not looking at it because you think it's going to get better, reality check, probably won't. And if you've just started somewhere and you're seeing red flags and you aren't sure, trust your gut. If you think it's shit, smells like shit, sounds like shit, it's probably shit. So, run. But anyway, that's my rant for this week. I'm very sorry for my rant, but I appreciate you being here and I appreciate ranting with you. Thank you for coming to my little rant for the week. If you're ever in Brisbane, hit me up. Let's rant about it. Let's have a little bitch sesh. I'm here for that. But anyway, yeah. Stay cool. Stay strong, I think is a big thing. Stay strong. Thanks for being here. And yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye.